This section is 7.1. It's on the midpoint formula. The midpoint of a segment is the point halfway between the two endpoints. Pretty basic. Just for this first part for reference, this could be something that's on like an Apex definitional question, but you know a line is horizontal if it has the same y coordinates. Okay? So remember, when you're writing coordinates, it's x, then y. So y should be your second thing in the coordinates. Okay? So what you do to find the midpoint of a horizontal segment, you find the average of the x coordinates, and then you just keep the y coordinate. So what does this mean? Well, my x coordinates here are 0 and 20. So I would do 20 plus 0. There's two numbers, so the average would be to divide by 2, or 20 over 2, which is just 10. So I would have the midpoint of 10. Since both of my y coordinates are 0, it just stays 0. And I could do the same thing with the next one as well. I would take the average, so I do negative 10 plus 20 divided by 2. Negative 10 plus 20 would give me a positive 10 divided by 2, which would be 5. So I'd have the midpoint of 5. And again, my other ones are just 0, so that would stay 5. If you can add two numbers together and divide by 2, you can do everything with midpoints. Vertical segments. If something's vertical, it has the same x coordinates. So just know that in case of an Apex quiz. Horizontal is y, vertical is x. It's the same idea, only now your x's stay the same because they're both already 0. And I would do 0 plus 20 and divide by 2, which we already found to be 10. And it would be the same numbers there. Okay, so that's your vertical and horizontal. You probably won't get many questions like that, but it just could be some type of definitional that they throw in on a quiz. Okay, so diagonal segments. The endpoints of a segment are 10, 3, 20, and 17. How do you know it's diagonal? Well, all of these numbers are like their different endpoints. My x is 10 and 20. Those aren't the same. My y is 3 and 17. Not the same. So as long as everything's different, it's going to be diagonal, which is mostly what you'll be working with. To find the midpoint of a diagonal, you're going to do the average of both sets of endpoints. Okay? So what happens is you have your first endpoint. You'll have x1, y1. This is the formula. You can do it, think of it this way, x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. I like to label my points. They do x1, y1, x2, y2. It just helps you make sure you're doing things in order. But basically, you need to remember x's go together, y's go together. You take the average, so you add whatever the numbers are and divide by 2. So we'll do like 2 problems and we'll call it a day. So we have these two segments, right? You see there is the same number happening here, but this would have to be 0 and 0 here for it to be vertical. So what we're going to do, we do our x's first. So you could have x1, x2. And you're going to add those together. So 0 plus negative 8, and I'm going to divide by 2. You can have negative answers. That's fine, okay, because you're graphing it. So you may graph on a negative part of the plane. So 0 plus negative 8 would give me negative 8 divided by 2, which would give me an answer of negative 4. So my x-coordinate of my midpoint is negative 4. Now I can switch over y1, y2. And I'm going to do the same thing. 0 plus 6 divided by 2. Well, 0 plus 6 is 6. Divided by 2 is 3. So my final answer there would be the point, negative 4, 3. And you can do this with any sets of 2 points. You can find their midpoint. If I do this one, x1, x2, so I'm going to do -1 plus 3 divided by 2. If you struggle with negatives, feel free to use a calculator. Be careful, if you try to enter this all in at once with some calculators, like if you do -1 plus 3 divided by 2, it might read like just the 3 divided by 2. So make sure you do -1 plus 3, hit enter, then divide by 2, just to make sure the calculator doesn't read something wrong. But that should give me 2 over 2, which gives me a point of 1. It would be possible to get fraction answers. Just, obviously, if this is Apex, it's multiple choice. See if they have it as a decimal or a fraction. Either way is fine. So 7 plus -3 over 2. 7 plus -3 would give me 4 over 2, which is 2. So we end up with the point 1, 2. All right, we'll talk about this tomorrow. Hope you have a good day.